Today, we're going to show you how to smoke a chuck roast, unbelievably delicious sandwiches for a really good price. This week's video is brought to you by Inkbird. More on that in just a little bit. So let me show you what we're making here. We went ahead and got a 3.4 pound Angus premium chuck roast. Let me just pull this out of the package so you can get a sense of what this looks like. This is a good thick cut of beef. And what you want to see is all of this marbling in here. This is exactly what makes this an amazing piece. I'm going to zoom in and show you because it's almost 3 individual pieces. If you wanted to cook this like a steak, you absolutely could. We are going to actually smoke this, bring it up, like break apart tender, and make some amazing sandwiches. Let me show you how we do that. All right, we're going to do 2 things here. You can make your own rub, or you can certainly buy your favorite rub. Heck, every YouTuber has their mix out there, but I got to tell you, it's pretty simple. For a standard sort of Texas beef barbecue rub, what you want to do is run equal parts of salt and black pepper. I like to use the coarse ground salt and the coarse black pepper, and about half of a part of garlic powder, and this is a great mix. You can sort of tweak this as you want a little bit. I'm just going to eyeball this. I do something similar here with the coarse ground black pepper. Now, Texas barbecue is more peppery than most, so it may seem like a lot when you're first putting it in. Do it downwind, by the way. New package of garlic here. We're gonna go about half of that amount of the garlic in there. Simple, right? Now you'll see a lot of people talk about using a binder, and they'll put mustard on it, or some people just use barbecue sauce because they have it handy. As long as your meat is moist, I have found that that is really not all that important. And at the end of the day, we're gonna put this in a pan or wrap it, and we're gonna let it steam in some of its juices in this consomme mix we're gonna make. I'll show you that in a minute. So I don't think it's necessary. So what I've done is I've got this thing sitting out now for about 20 minutes, just sitting out here to get room temperature. And we are just gonna go ahead and sprinkle our salt and pepper on here. Forgive me if I'm going along the edge there, but you wanna make sure you're getting it on the sides here too. And I do that by just holding my hand there and pushing it up as we go. And then we wanna sprinkle it on top. Now I know you're gonna think, wow, that's a lot of salt on there. It's okay. Salt is going to sort of act like this material that goes down into the meat, withdraws out the moisture. The moisture gets to the top of the meat. It then soaks in with the salt, sort of melts the salt, and the salt penetrates back into the meat. It really is the way you want to flavor this. And you don't want to rush it. We want this to, sit out here for maybe 15, 20 minutes. You'll start to notice that the outer surface, as it draws that moisture out, will start to almost look like, I always describe it as mud, right? It starts to look like a little bit muddy. The seasoning has absorbed some of that moisture. And now we're just gonna let this sit here and begin to rest. So while this is resting, let me go ahead and kick on the smoker. We're gonna use our PitBoss Competition Series Titan here, and we'll just power this guy on, wait for it to come up. And what we wanna do is set this to 275 degrees. I think that's gonna be a perfect temperature for smoking this guy. Get that up to 275. All right, we're just gonna let this come up to temperature. It'll probably take 10 to 12 minutes. We probably need a good 15 or so for that meat to rest, so this will be perfect timing. We'll see you back here in, well, about 2 seconds, but it'll be about 15 minutes later for me. This is sweated out real nice. I went ahead and picked it up and just, you wanna run the edges here along any that you have on the cutting board. Just use up all that seasoning. And this is looking really nice. And you can sort of see it's held together real well, and it's just a little bit moist. It's that mud texture as opposed to a dry powder on it. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put our probe in here. What we wanna do is make sure that we bring this up to about 165 degrees, give or take 5 or 10, and then we'll wrap it. That's gonna be an important next step. So I wanna get this in a good thick part of the meat here. Put the probe in all the way. And what the heck, I've got 2. I'll measure one on the other side too, just to get a sense from both directions. How's that? So we've got our probes in there. At 275 degrees, I'm gonna put it right on the top rack, and we're gonna let it go for probably 2 to 3 hours. I don't know exactly, we'll see. Again, doing it by temperature, not by time. Just gonna put that right in the center. There we go. All right, now that I have my probes in the meat, I have this little sending unit. I can see here it's showing 181 degrees ambient temperature in there, so it's still coming up a little bit after just putting it in. And it's showing the temperature of the meat, which is 48 degrees on one side and 50 degrees Fahrenheit on the other. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into my actual thermometer. I'm going to choose the black temperature that I have. I'm gonna set this to beef. And I'm gonna actually customize the temperature. I wanna go to 165 degrees. I'm gonna ask it to give me an early warning when it's 9 degrees ahead of that, and I'm gonna start cooking. I'm gonna confirm that. And I'm gonna do the same thing with my secondary probe. If you recall, I put that in there. And on this one, just like before, I'm gonna set it to 160 degrees with an early warning. And I now have both of my thermometers in. You can see the internal temperature of the meat is at 52 degrees. And if I would actually click on the black thermometer, there's actually a white one and a black one. The white one just measures the internal temperature of the meat. The black one measures the internal temperature of the meat as well as the ambient. So we can see here on the left-hand side, I have a 214 degrees ambient temperature in there. The internal side of the meat is 52, and I have it set to 164 degrees as my target. I thought I hit 165, but I must not have. Let's see. Yep, I did. I hit 165. Let me confirm that. Hit 164. I'll confirm it at 165. And I am all set. Now the beauty of this app is you can also go in and set early warnings, and I do not have to be here. That unit is connected to the Wi-Fi here at our house, and I can travel wherever I want. It's connected to my phone. It will ring a little alarm, not only on my phone, but on the control unit as well, which is absolutely great. So I will see you back here when this temperature is around 160 to 165. All right, folks, it's been 2.5 hours, and we're sitting right now, I'll put this up on the screen, we're sitting right now at 169 degrees on that secondary probe we put in, and 162 degrees on the primary probe. This is exactly what we see. We're bringing this temperature up. We should have a nice bark on this. Let me pull it out of the smoker. We'll put it right up here. We'll get ready to wrap this guy, and I'll show you how we make an amazing broth to cook this in and steam it and get it really, really tender. Because this is going to be hot, I'm gonna go ahead and put on some gloves here. Just reach in and grab this guy. Oh, look at that. Bring this guy over to the table. I'll show you just what she looks like. So I mentioned earlier, this week's video is sponsored by Inkbird. Inkbird makes wireless thermometers for your barbecuing. You might be familiar with the Meter brand or other brands. This one is significantly less expensive, and I'm testing it out, and honestly, I'm really, really impressed. I'm sharing an honest review with you. I'll tell you the tips, the tricks, the things I like, the things I don't. I've been using it for a while now. One of the things I really do like about it is it has this little control unit that you set right out by your grill. I think it said it can be within 30 feet or so of the probes itself. The beauty of that is it connects via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, and I can be remote or here in front of the grill to actually manage it. Really is nice. 2 probes. These things are less expensive than some of the others out there, and they are really a good deal. I'll put links down in the description below. You can check it out. Thank you, Inkbird, for sponsoring this week's video. All right, I am going to pull these probes out of here. We're going to put them back in, don't worry. But I just want to take them out. We'll wrap it, and then we'll put the probes back in. One there. Whew. One there. I'm going to take these edges. I'm going to fold them together up here, and we're going to tent this. Not real tight, we want to leave some space. Now on this side, I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to fold this upward. Again, you see I'm going up because I'm going to put liquid in there. And we're going to leave this side open for a little bit so we can pour our liquid in there in a moment. Typically, what I'll use here is some beef broth, and in this case I have beef consomme, which is really just a more rich, dense sort of flavor than you'd get off of just a standard beef stock. Ugh. That's going to take a minute to drain out of there, so we'll just let that go for a moment. Now I also have some Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. And the reason I'm doing this is I want a good beefy flavor. That's what the beef consomme is going to do. And then I want a little bit of sweet that comes off of barbecue sauce. Now I'm probably doing about 1/3 of that compared to the beef consomme. And this is an odd one, I'll be the first to admit. You ever go to Chick-fil-A and they have their Polynesian sauce. It's kind of like a really sweet barbecue sauce, but it has an amazing flavor. And I'm going to put a couple of these in here because I think this stuff is just really well and tasty. And honestly, we had a few sitting on the counter after going to Chick-fil-A the other day. So I think I'm going to put I'll put 4 of these in there. It's That's how you clean your fingers. All right, I'm going to mix this up now. I'm just going to pour, you know what? I'm going to pour it all in there. That's way more than we'll need, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's going to be inside of a pan. If any leaks out, no harm, no foul. Same thing we did on the other side. We're going to take this and we're going to fold it upward because we really want to make sure those cracks stay high. Set that right there, and let's go ahead and get our probes back in. In hopes that we don't, I hope I didn't just poke a hole in the bottom. I might have. We've got both of our probes in there. Let's make sure they're both reading. They would have cooled down sitting right here. We'll go back into our target. So you can definitely see here where we had our meat climbing up in temperature. And the ambient temperature is, you know, way down here at the temperature outside, which is fine. So for example, you can see it shows the ambient temperature is 91 degrees. It's not quite that warm out, but it is nice being in South Florida because it is right at Christmas time. I mean, literally, Christmas is 4 days away at this point. So we got 145 degrees internal temperature. That'll keep climbing up, I think, a bit here. And what we're going to do is we're now going to set that target a little higher. We want to get this up to, let's call it 205. And we'll do the same with our white thermometer. And customize that to 205. All right, let's make sure they're both set. Yep, we've seen here we're at 90 degrees ambient, 147 internal, 205 for the target temperature. And the other one that doesn't read ambient temperature, it's got a target of 205 there in orange, and we're sitting at 156 degrees there. So, all right. Slide this guy right in here. Now, by the way, I could have just put it right on the rack. I'm probably cooling it a little bit with this pan since it was at room temperature here, but we're still at 275 degrees inside of the smoker. We'll see you back here when this reaches around 200 degrees. So you may be able to hear this thing beeping right there. And if you look on my screen, you can actually see it's telling me that the probe temperature is too high. That means that it has gone above the temperature I set for its warning, which was 205. So I'm going to say got it. You'll notice it stopped. And now right there on the screen, you can see that the white temperature probe is set to high. It's over the limit. My other one is set to 203. I wanted to go 205, so I'm going to go ahead and hit end cooking here. And I'll do the same thing on this one. But what I love about this is, you know, down below you can start to see a complete graph here of all of our cooking here. Put that right there. But I just want to see how tender that is as the probe goes in. Actually still has a little bit of that intermuscular fat in there. I think I wanted this to go, I may want this to go another 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up and I'm going to pop it back in there again. I'll show you just how this guy looks. And again, there's a lot of juice in there, so I'm going to bring that little pan over. I'm going to put it right into that pan. But, you know, it's always good to just get a sense of how tender these things are. And I like to do it with a bit of a probe. See, it still has a little bit of resistance. That's nice. Just trying to get that liquid saved in there. You might be able to see this. You can kind of see the split here and here. I'm just going to kind of cut right through this. Let's get this piece off of there. Really just cutting the fat section in here that's just about coming apart by hand. And it looks like this right here is sort of the other piece. Pull that off of there. Essentially just using the same foil that I wrapped this in, I'm going to make it like a lid on here. All I'm trying to do is capture a little bit of that moisture in there, which will help tenderize it as it heats back up again. I'm gonna put the grill on. I'm gonna crank this up until that gets a little bit more tender in there. All right, we let this go for about another 35 or 40 minutes. I gotta tell you, part of it seems really, really tender, but another part just doesn't seem to be all that tender. So let's go ahead and get this out. Open this guy up. Now, this is the section I was telling you. It's fairly tender. And I'll show you as I pull this apart. It will just break apart, but it's quite frankly not as tender as I was looking for it to be. You know, I mean, it definitely breaks apart nice and easy.
Over here. Yeah, right here. Hey, do me a favor. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like it, subscribe to the channel and click on that little bell notification so you get notified of new videos. Thanks.
Oh, that's got really good flavor though. Really good flavor. Here's what I like the most. These pieces that had all that intermuscular fat in them. These are going to be absolutely phenomenal. I'm just going to put these little slices right back in here for a moment. Now this is the kind of thing, a lot like pulled pork, you can just use your hands if you want. You'll see what I mean. If we just grab this and just squeeze, it just falls apart into these little shreds that would just be perfect for popping on a brioche bun or a hamburger bun, a little bit of barbecue sauce, and just have an amazing beef sandwich. By the way, I said cook to the temperature and not the time. So what was interesting is this got up to 224, and that's kind of what it was before it felt good and probe tender. Looking for a piece just big enough to get in my mouth. Whew. Just rub it in a little of this au jus. That flavor of that juice, it's beefy, it's sweet. You can definitely taste the barbecue sauce, that sweet baby Ray's with a little bit of that Chick-fil-A Polynesian sauce. That's good stuff, man. That's it. You can do an $18 to $20, 3 to 4 pound chuck roast. It's darn near as good as chopped brisket. If you chop that up, it would be just like it, if not better. That sauce on there to keep that moisture up, unbelievably good. And thank you, Inkbird, for sponsoring this video. Bye, y'all. Safe and happy grilling. I'm not walking away without a piece from my mouth.